Cecil Field, great to be here. I want to thank the mayor for being here. We also have a lot of members of the Jacksonville City Council with us. I want to thank them for coming. Representatives Duggan and Bird, Mark Van Lowe, CEO of the Jacksonville Aviation Authority, Matt Pacino, Interim Director of Cecil Airport. We have folks from FDOT, Brad Thoburn and Greg Evans. We also have folks from Space Florida and Enterprise Florida. And he can't be with us tonight, but Senator Bean has been very instrumental in pursuing opportunities here at Cecil Field. And that's really what we're here to be able to do. As many of you know, Cecil Field used to be a key hub for our military. That decision in the early 90s was that it would close, and there was, of course, a lot of interest in what would happen after that. And I remember there was a lot of folks in the who were military centric who were sad to see that happen. But what really has happened is you've had wave after wave of construction and investment to where Cecil Field is a real leader in commercial aerospace. It's an economic engine for this community. They have world-class tenants and a world-class vision for growth. And so today we are announcing $6 million from the Governor's Job Growth Grant Fund to the Jacksonville Aviation Authority to support construction of nearly 2 miles of roadway at the Cecil Airport and Spaceport, and that will include all the relevant utilities and services, and that is going to represent a massive expansion of the potential for here in Cecil Field. And so this is teaming up with EFI, Space Florida, DOT, Jacksonville Aviation, the City of Jacksonville, to really do a significant project that's going to have a huge amount of money. And my wife is calling me, and I am not home. But when you take the $4 million commitment from DOT that was made prior, then you have a $3 million commitment for Space Florida. They will, of course, be able to add this key road, but they will, as I mentioned, all the utility infrastructure necessary to support commercial space and business expansion at the Cecil Spaceport will be included in this. And this will allow a significant increase in launch operations from the spaceport. There's already, company developing hypersonic crafts and satellite launch systems at Cecil, and our continued investment, which we have been doing, they've been able to expand in Jacksonville. This is Generation Orbit, and they're scheduled to begin their launch operations next year. The roadway will also help enable new companies to locate to the area, and this is obviously a great place to be for a lot of folks. Overall, with the investments we're making, Cecil Airport is expected to more than double the number of employees, adding 3,780 new jobs and bringing the total number of jobs at the airport to 6,251. The infrastructure project is also expected to almost double the economic impact of Cecil Airport to more than $7 billion annually. And we, of course, are supporting infrastructure, but we also are looking to make an impact on education programs for in-demand career. Cecil Airport is home to the Florida State College of Jacksonville Cecil Center, which provides on-the-job training opportunities for the college's aviation and commercial vehicle driving programs. And so we want to continue to do that. We're proud of what Florida has been able to accomplish, particularly over the last year and a half. We are clearly leading in terms of driving job growth in the United States. There's a lot of headwinds in terms of what's happening overall with the economy. When you look at things like inflation and gas prices, these are huge weights that are very difficult. And I think Florida, we've been able to plow through that more effectively than most, but it certainly continues to be cause for concern. But our job growth rate in the private sector is outpacing the nation. In September, we had 194,000 jobs nationwide. Florida alone was 84,500 jobs in the month of September, and we have many job openings. There's a lot of businesses that are looking to hire. So that's a good problem to have. We want to continue to work so that Floridians have the ability to succeed, have jobs, and provide for their families. And so we're excited about today's announcement. I think it's going to make a real difference. And when we're doing our infrastructure investments, the things I look at are, what's going to have the most impact. And then if our investment comes in is the project going to be complete, or is this going to be something we're going to have to continue to give money for year after year? And this is the final piece. This has been something that they've been wanting to do for a long time, and so now we're able to come in, get it teed up, and we'll commence. And so it's an exciting day, and I really think that here at Cecil, there's a lot of great opportunities ahead. It's going to be a tremendous driver for Northeast Florida. So Mayor Curry's with us here, so you want to come up and say a few things?
Thank you, Governor. Good morning. On behalf of the City of Jacksonville, Jacksonville Aviation Authority, the members of our City Council, Governor, we're grateful for this investment. To our representatives, we're grateful again for this investment. We appreciate your commitment to space, aviation, jobs, and infrastructure. And Governor, I just want to say again, really appreciate your leadership, particularly over the last 2 years in incredibly difficult and trying times. You've been strong, you've been tough, and you've always looked out for Floridians and for people of Jacksonville. Thank you.
Okay. We have Representative Duggan.
Thank you, Governor.
Good morning, I'm Wyman Duggan, House District 15, in which we are all located right now. Cecil is probably the premier economic asset in House District 15. I want to just give a little color to some of the things that the governor already talked about. According to the Space Foundation, in 2020, a COVID year, the commercial space industry was a $447 billion industry. It's a safe bet within 5 years it's going to be a $1 trillion industry. And the incredibly generous investment that the governor has made today in the critical infrastructure for Cecil Spaceport is going to set the table for a tremendous economic development opportunity for all of Northeast Florida. Down in Brevard, they are a victim of their success. Between NASA, the Department of Defense, Blue Origin, SpaceX, they are bursting at the seams. There's not a lot more room to develop down there. The commercial space industry wants to get to space. Florida, and particularly Northeast Florida, is one of the few places on the planet where you can get to any orbit from a launch here. You can't say that everywhere else. They're going to want to come here. And they're particularly going to want to come here if you think about manufacturing and development. Many of these companies would tell you they'd trade 10 rocket scientists for a sheet metal worker. We are going to be able to create thousands of jobs, not just scientists and engineers, but logistics, manufacturing, all kinds of great quality, high-paying jobs for our entire community that is going to all stem from an investment like this. Finally, the commercial tourism industry. If you've got discretionary income to go to space, do you want to be sitting while you're waiting to go to space in the Mojave Desert with Richard Branson's outfit? Do you want to be in Boca Chica, Texas with SpaceX? Do you want to be in Brownsville with Blue Origin? Or do you want to be in Ponte Vedra while you're waiting to go to space? People are going to want to come here to spend their money to get to space. And again, the investments that we're making today will set the table for that. So thank you again, Governor. And let me just close by saying, I'm sure everybody in Northeast Florida will join me in wishing your wife a quick recovery. Thank you.
Okay, Cord Bird.
Good morning. Thank you, Governor. I'm Cord Bird. I represent House District 11. Florida has always been the gateway to the stars. And if you look historically at the aviation and aerospace industry, it has come through Florida, and many of the innovations in our history have been right here in North Florida, in a great partnership with our military community and the defense industry. And investments such as this just will reaffirm that Florida will lead the way in the future, not only nationally under the governor's leadership, but internationally and worldwide in the area of aviation and aerospace. I really thank the Mayor Curry, our partners in the city of Jacksonville, the business community here in North Florida, and Space Florida to make this possible. Jobs are critical, and this will provide the high-paying jobs to lead Florida in the 21st century. So I appreciate the governor's leadership on this issue and my partners in the legislature for making this happen. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. All right, so Mayor, JAA, you guys want to come and accept the check? So 6 million smackaroos, not a bad day at the office. All right, congrats.
Thank you.
Yeah. Congrats.
Thank you, Governor.
Yeah. Thank you. Just to make a couple additional comments. There was the report in the New York Post about one of what they're doing, what Biden administration's doing. They're flying in people who came illegally, dumping a lot in Jacksonville in the middle of the night. And there was an individual who had posed as a 17-year-old, actually was in the mid-20s, brought here, had been here, ended up committing a murder. And so now this individual has been detained, should have never been in this country to begin with, and definitely should not have been dumped in the state of Florida. And so these are middle of the night flights, no notification to the state or anybody, and this is not the way you keep people safe. It's reckless and it's wrong. And I'm going to ask the legislature to see what can we do to make sure that they can't just do this with impunity, because these are private contractors the federal government's hiring, coming in. You know, if you're bringing in problems like that, then I think we have to reevaluate, you know, what you're able to do business-wise in the state of Florida. So we're going to definitely I'm going to see what we can do from executive. We have, of course, have a pending lawsuit against the Biden administration challenging their catch and release policies. But this is what happens when you engage in reckless policies. We also have just seen published today this proposed OSHA rule with the forced vaccinations. And I just want to say, we've said from the very beginning, Florida will contest that immediately. They do not have the authority to unilaterally impose this through an executive agency like OSHA. If you read what they're saying this is an imminent danger. It's got to be an emergency rule. These people have been working this whole time. They've been working for a year and a half. They've been working. They announced that they were going to do this in September. It took them 6 weeks to write the rule, and it doesn't go into effect until January. So that they're abusing emergency power to be able to do what they would not be able to get through the Congress and do in a constitutional way. And so we're going to be challenging that. And I think this rule is absolutely going down. And it's just not something that is appropriate. Forget about even the substantive issue, which is a legitimate thing. I mean, you know, my view is, and we're going to have the legislature come in a couple weeks, is, you know, people should not be in a situation where they're faced with the jab or their jobs. People have been working. We don't want to kick people out of jobs. And that's true if you're a police officer, if you're a firefighter. It's also true if you're in the private sector. We want to protect people's jobs. It's not right to treat people that way. And so that's just bottom line fundamental. But even beyond that, at what point does the federal government have the limit to their power? If they can just go ahead and impose this on the entire private economy through an executive fiat, that's not the way our constitutional system is set up. So Florida will be responding, and I think the rule's going down. I just don't think that there's an adequate basis for it, and I think you've even seen people on their side acknowledge that they don't have firm constitutional footing for this. Congress has never legislated this. This is just pure executive edicts. And then the final thing I'll just say, because people have been asking with these childhood vaccines in Florida, there will be no mandate for COVID vaccines for children allowed. I mean, that is a parent's decision. And it's already not lawful to mandate COVID vaccine for young children. And we're going to make sure that is enforced, and that parents are the ones that can make these key decisions for their children and for their future. And so with that, I'm happy to take a few questions. Yes, sir.
Just on the vaccine issue, did the state pre-order any vaccines for children, and if not, why not?
So we basically months ago have the vaccines are going to everybody in the normal medical system the way it is. So it's like we're not doing vaccine sites. They're at the pharmacies. They're readily available for everybody. I don't think that there's any difference in the vaccine that's doing. I think they may take a lower dosage. So there's no shortage of availability of any of that. But it's not something that the state is administering at this point. That we basically got it through the whole economy in April, and so it's been available at every drugstore since then. All right, thanks guys. We'll see you soon.
All right, thank you.
When was the last time you saw a press gaggle just be afraid to ask questions? They know better. They absolutely know better. Now, full disclosure, this was last night. The way things have been going in Florida, there's a great many people terrified of this man. So a lot of these live events have to be broadcast later, just for his security. We don't let people know where the governor is in real time. You know, where he is now, who knows? Doing what? That's for those who have a need to know. But something was said earlier in this press conference that a lot of people missed. Flowers actually caught it. It's about the $1 trillion commercial space industry that is blowing up across the world, and Florida is leading the world. So, anyway, I'm trying to watch my comments as I'm doing this. Just to show everybody where this is, here's the city of Jacksonville. Let me see if I get caught up here. Out here it is. This is where he was. This is one of those Clinton base closures. Now, this goes back to way, way back when I was in the military, and it was really a horrible thing what Bill Clinton did. They didn't realize what they were doing. I mean, they thought they knew what they were doing, but they didn't realize the secondary and tertiary effects. And even Bill Clinton himself has said in interviews that looking back, he wouldn't have closed as many. Because what happened in the 80s and 90s, 70s, late 70s, 80s, and 90s, there were a great many bases in the continental United States and not so many all over the world. The vast majority of communities, major communities in America, had a military component, meaning it wasn't uncommon to go to the grocery store and see somebody walking around in uniform. That was an experience everybody had. So people knew people who were in the military. So there wasn't, pardon me. Okay, are we still there? I'm sorry, it looks like I bumped the mute. So I don't know where I hit the mute button at. Okay. So point being, the suspicion that arose from all of these bases being closed. Why? Because people didn't see guys in uniform. They didn't see women in uniform. They weren't part of their lives. You had to be in very specific communities. Okay, sorry, I've got to hide a comment here. The anti-vaxxers demanding that there be no option, that you not even be allowed to have a vaccine. So I'm not even going to give that any more credence. But here's the grand point. Here's the bigger point that I was trying to make. To defeat the Democrats, to defeat the liberals and the progressives, you have to take their priorities and then make them our priorities. Just do it our way. The big three: education, healthcare, and infrastructure. Those are three big priorities for the left. We in Florida have made education a number one priority. Who remembers the live that I did last week where the governor was handing out a check to build a school to teach guys to weld and to drive trucks and to work on trucks and be mechanics? Who remembers that? You see, we're doing education. We're just not doing indoctrination like they do in four-year colleges. Now, in this press conference that he just got done saying, One of the guys speaking that spoke after him said there are companies that would trade 10 rocket scientists for one sheet metal worker. Who remembers when the guy said that? See, this is the idea. All of these skills and trades and technical schools, okay, are very different than the 4-year indoctrination colleges. So we've taken education, a plank, out of the Democrat platform, and we've put it into our platform and just done it the right way. Okay, education, infrastructure. Once again, that's what this was about. We're building the space business, the commercial space business, and we're drawing people here from all over the world and investment here from all over the world. Are we handing a bunch of freebies and breaks to the big unions like the leftists do? Well, no. But that, you see how we take their idea of what they think infrastructure is, and then we just take infrastructure and we do it our way, the right way. And this is how you win. You don't dismiss the ideas of education, infrastructure, and healthcare. We just do it the right way, the intelligent way, the way that gets things done. And before that, our brand new Surgeon General, who has an actual functioning brain in his head, who has come out and said, look, we need to take a breath, drop the tone, and look at the facts. So just in the last 2 weeks, the governor has literally, and nobody is seeing this and nobody's identifying this other than this channel, he is going after the planks of the left, pulling them out one by one and redoing them and putting them in our platform. That's why Nikki Fried would stand no chance in a debate against him. Neither would Charlie Crist. Would never happen. And somebody had mentioned earlier, and let me be clear, Nikki Fried is a gym rat. She works out like mad, and she's a very nice looking woman to look at. And she's got a fake rack that she bought a long time ago, and she's married to a guy who is a big medical marijuana dude. So she's got the drug addicts and the people that just want to look at her. But we have adults that are in charge in Florida. So she doesn't stand a chance. So no worries from Nikki Fried. She, of course, has social media and all this. And exactly, you know what? Good point, Denise. And the environment. That's another one. We took on the environment, too. Yet another plank. I forgot to include that. Thank you, Denise. So the environment, education, healthcare, infrastructure. See, these are Democrat issues. And this is what's killing them. And they're not reporting it because people aren't seeing it. And the governor's been incredibly, incredibly smart by grabbing on to these ideas. There's medical marijuana licenses, but we don't recognize, to answer Jay Armstrong's question, it has to be a Florida medical marijuana license. And we don't recognize other states. And some people say that's a problem. They're trying to get it. That's one of Nikki's things, that she wants to try to change things so that we recognize every other state's. No, sorry. No, we're not going to turn Florida into any more of a drug paradise than it is. Unfortunately, I can't deny the fact that there's a giant proliferation of illegal narcotics and fentanyl and everything else down here that we spend a great deal of time and wasting a lot of our effort and money dealing with. It's just it's a very sad state of affairs in some areas of Florida. So it's and people want to argue this with marijuana. When you have problems in your life, when you have issues in your life, and your first choice is to turn to some type of a substance, any substance, I don't care what it is, becomes a gateway. Alcohol, cigarettes, marijuana, some people food. One leads to the next, leads to the next, leads to the next. You see, this is, people don't understand this, Jenny. And the minute you legalize it, what you do is you legalize people running from their problems. Because everybody wants to take the few people that would use it for actual real issues, and the vast, it's like the abortion thing. Marijuana and abortion are the same thing. Because there are a few very, very small instances in which case, like, for example, if a young girl, way too young to be having a baby, is, a victim of a crime, of course, and it's caught very, very early, rape, incest, that type of thing. But that's such a fractional, teeny, tiny, itty-bitty amount of the vast majority of convenience abortions that go on. How does that play with marijuana? Very, very few people, as a whole, truly need it for some actual medical condition. Legalizing it opens the gates of hell for people who want to sit around and get stoned all day long because they think it'll fix this problem and that problem and this other problem, and oh my, this goes away and that goes away and this other goes away. This is what happens. And he said, well, I tell you what, Philo, if you want to go live someplace where there are no man's laws, go live in Africa. If you want a real good experience with a life where no law applies, where it's just law of the jungle, go off to Nigeria, go off to Uganda, go off to places where there are no laws. If you really want to experiment with no laws, go for it. If you want to go someplace where drugs are everywhere and people can do whatever the hell they want to do, whenever the hell they want to do it, by all means, try Africa. Try southern Colombia. Try northern Brazil. And see how much you enjoy life without laws. Man's laws. If you think man's laws are so bad and so horrible. Yeah, go ahead and leave. Yeah, anybody who's here to push the drug culture, to push the drug agenda, the big drug agenda, by all means, there's the door. Full disclosure, United States Army, Spanish linguist, interrogator speaking here. Guess where I served? As a Spanish linguist. That's right. Drug Central, South America, Central America. Believe me when I tell you. Anybody who thinks, and that's the thing too, it's hilarious. People are like, well, I'm not taking this drug. The drugs that we know for a fact destroy lives. The drugs that we know for a fact destroy lives and have proof destroy lives and are the financier. You want to know why all those people are coming to the border? You want to know why all those people are coming to the border? From Guatemala. You know why? Because American drug money, the people in America, the millions of people in America that buy drugs who think they don't harm anybody. It's my right. I don't got nobody's laws on me. They're making those guys down there into tyrants. You know why they're leaving Guatemala? You know why they're leaving El Salvador? Because laws have failed. Governments have failed. Why? Because the drug cartels have more money. Where do the drug cartels get their money? From American drug addicts. From American drug addicts. So every time you see one of these caravans heading this way, you can thank somebody who wants to legalize weed. You can thank somebody who wants to legalize weed because there are no jobs down there. There's no businesses investing in Guatemala or El Salvador. Why? Because they're completely 100% top-down. Grow your own is code for become a drug dealer yourself. Grow enough so that you don't have, so that you can sell yours and you can have enough of your own stash and you don't have to work. That's what that is. Right, exactly. See, not everybody has a yard. Okay, look, I'm going to share this. We're growing it here, asset. Bullshit. Bullshit. There are a few people, yes, that are growing it here, but the vast majority of people live in apartments in big cities. And they get people hooked on this shit, and the vast majority of it coming here is coming from overseas. And now these drug cartels that are just flush with cash in Guatemala and El Salvador and in South America, they rule. You know, it's funny. It's like, I want to live someplace with no rules and no laws. Believe me, when you get rid of government, actual government, other government, quote unquote, will come in. Other government will come in. And no, I'm not digressing, actually, Anomalous Sapien. I'm not digressing. And everybody, oh, yeah, it's a CIA. It's bullshit. They've never been there. Have you ever been there? Have you ever served in the military there? Have you ever seen what they do and how they do it up close and personal? Those cartels have weapons just like we do. They have uniforms just like we do. They have financing, and they have training, and they have barracks, and they have supplies. Believe me when I tell you, where does all that money come from? All that money comes from the American people. From the American people. And the reason Florida has the problems Florida has, the ones we do, is because of this. They have their own armies. People say, I love this. I don't want to live under government. Nature abhors a vacuum. You get rid of one government, another one will step in. There's no such thing as anarchy. There's no such thing as anarchy. A group will stand up somehow, some way, and they will take power. Just like they have the Guatemalan government, the actual recognized one, the El Salvadorian government, they are puppets of the cartels. They are puppets of the cartels. Have you ever served in South America? Believe me when I tell you, at one time, Venezuela was our ally. Do you know why Venezuela was the first country to get the first non-NATO country to get the F-16 was Venezuela? Do you know why? Socialist Venezuela. They were our ally. Do you know why? Because their evil, terrible, horrible socialist government stood firm against the cartels. And believe me, you did not want to be a drug dealer caught in Venezuela. That's why they built Seben Prison. It is the last place in the world you wanted to be caught as a drug dealer. Colombia, Ecuador, Peru. This is the drug capital of the world right here. Because this is all U.S. interest. The vast majority of the drugs that started coming into this country, Colombia, Ecuador, and Peru, came right through here, and now it used to be controlled from the top down, from here, and they would control the entire pipeline all the way to the border. Now the Mexicans have gotten into it. And this is the stark reality of what Florida is trying to do. You know, people laugh and say, what interest does Florida have in the border? I mean, we're nothing but a border. Literally, the only border we have with the United States is Georgia and Alabama. The rest is the world. Cartels are shooting across, bingo, yeah. Where do you think not only do they get the equipment, the ammunition, where do you think they get the training? Where do you think they get the financing? Where do you think they get the gall, to be truthful, to do so? But that's really tied to all of this. When we, in Florida, take this money and we stand up infrastructure and we give people jobs and we get people educated and people understand and they know and they aren't living on the very edge of society, they aren't likely to become victims of the drug culture. See, that's what Nikki Fried is trying to take advantage of. Nikki Fried is trying to take advantage of people who think, golly, I can't wait to get up today in Florida and stay stoned all day long because my life is shit. Because my life, I have made poor decisions and I don't want to blame myself, so I'm going to, you know what, anyone who wants to do the chicken shit cop out of the 3-letter agencies, just leave. If you don't want to accept the fact that there are people out there not taking responsibility for their lives, people who just want to stay stoned and go from one high to the next high to the next high to the next high, and you just want to blame government for all of your problems, you're just as bad as the Democrats. You might as well just change your voting on, your voting card. This is what happens when I allow anyone to be in the chat, not just subscribers. See, they're right there, Meme Land Farms. You see, life doesn't suck for everybody. Life doesn't suck for everybody. I'll be very honest with you. There were times in my life where it sucked. And maybe I drank more than I should have. And maybe I partook in other substance. But at some point, you got to grow up and you got to be an adult and say, you know what? I'm using this substance as a crutch. I'm using this substance as a crutch and not fixing my problems in my life. And then when any politician stands up and says, we're going to start getting the crutches a little bit harder. Oh, they want me to suffer. They want me to be blah, 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 blah. Right, but I mean, okay, am I saying 3-letter agencies are a bunch of great guys? No, but to say that they're the reason for the drug problem is ridiculous. They're the reason for the drug problem is ridiculous. The drug problem in this country, and it's a Southern problem, and it needs to be talked about, is because people want to run away from their problems. It's a great escape. It's a fantastic escape. And like I said, if you don't want to, you see, this is what happened. You see what's happening in chat here? I decided, you know what, today I'm not going to require people to subscribe to my channel to chat. I'm going to let people talk. And this is what happens. Yeah, well, you see, there's a reason Meme Land Farms buy a bottle of liquor. Okay, buy a bag, go to jail. You see, this was the argument of the temperance folks. This was the argument of the temperance folks. The difference between weed and you can't really grow alcohol in your backyard. And like I said, if you want to experiment, there are places in the world where you can go, where they will let you do anything. Go look at the societies. Go look at how they live when anybody can do anything they want, however they want, wherever the hell, whenever they want. Africa. There's virtually nothing that's illegal there. Virtually nothing. Stay out of the Muslim-run areas. But head off to Africa. Head off to southern Colombia, southwest Colombia. There's no law. You should be happy as a clam. Right, that's why okay, so Lou Gall, is that why there are no liquor stores in business? Because everybody can just make their own booze? So you can grow your own weed and have it be 99% of what you would get at a weed store, but not the same thing with booze. Oh, and now I hate, you hear that, guys? Now I hate the Constitution. Now I hate the Constitution. That's right. Because the Constitution didn't provide for laws, didn't provide for security, didn't provide for whatever. You see, this is what I get. You see, if you ever want to understand why people redact comments, why there's any censorship on the internet. This is why. I'm not the idiot whisperer. When people are dedicated to misunderstanding you and dedicated to being idiots and pushing their drug culture, that's why the governor has to fight. This is why we fight on a daily basis, because we have so many chicken shit cowards out there that want to live their life in a drug haze. And unfortunately, they're allowed to vote. That's just the reality. So we have to fight to have law and order. I mean, it's hilarious. If you want to go live in drug, go to Minneapolis, go to Seattle, go to Chicago. This is why we fight, to maintain law and order and a safe place for our families and friends and our loved ones and our children, to get rid of people who push the drug culture. I'm actually kind of glad these idiots showed up in my chat today, so that we can now have an object lesson. An object lesson of why you can never, never let your guard down. You can never let your guard down. We always have to fight day after day after day to maintain a free, happy, law and order, safe society in Florida. There will never be a day when we won't have people, like we see in our chat here, talking about how God wanted you to be stoned all day long. That's basically what someone just said basically the content of what they said. That God wants you to be stoned. God wants you to be drunk. They'll use the Bible, they'll do anything they can because they're mentally ill. You see, they push marijuana, they push drugs, they push booze, just like the big pharma pushes the vax. All right, snakes and mosquitoes and alligators and all sorts of crap. Doesn't mean God said go jump into bed with them. Exactly right. So anyway, I will leave it there. But God bless everyone for hanging out. Appreciate it. It is all tied together. It truly is. Everything that what the governor's doing, what we're fighting for. So somebody just put a comment, never let Florida become drug-ridden, filthy California. Exactly. Look what all that great idea of legalization did for the West Coast. Go live there. Go live there. Enough of the THC worship. Thank you, Jamie Miller. So yeah, Karen Lynn, it's been an interesting morning. So we've had a lot of, I made the mention, what started all this is that Nikki Fried, the agriculture commissioner, has come out and she's going to run against, apparently, Ron DeSantis for governor. The only thing she's got going for her is two things. She's got a husband who owns a huge marijuana company, and she's built like a brick shit house. Those are the two things that she has going for her. That's it. Other than that, she's an empty shell. And then to everybody, I had all the druggies show up saying, oh, well, drugs are a good thing and we should worship them and we should hand them out in kindergarten and get people stoned as soon as they come out of the womb. That's basically what they were saying. So anyway, I will leave it there, though. God bless. Like, share, subscribe. Thanks for hanging out, and we will see you guys a little bit later.